Dun, 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 dun. Na 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 na. My back. Oh, my back. No! God, please, no! No! And today we're gonna do something that I actually really enjoy because I love complaining about things. I've made so many videos where I just complain about something, got mad about something, were disappointed about something, and turned it into a beautiful, critical, very objective visual essay. And that's exactly why this channel is called The Torn Apart, because I've always enjoyed tearing movies apart.
Fix on this motherfucker!
And this is what we're doing today. I feel like this is the moment where we start looking back at our year 2022 and we try to think about the good and the bad and the really, really bad and the oh my god, how did anyone give the money for this to be made? So this is what this video is gonna be about. Today I'm gonna be making a video about the worst movies of 2022. This is the ultimate list. I will not accept anything else. Actually, yeah, I should accept something else because I probably haven't seen all of the films that came out this year. So okay, scrap that. This is not the ultimate list. This is my own list of the worst movies of 2022. The movies that you have to absolutely avoid. Don't even look at the titles. When you see the posters, just cover your eyes because it's just garbage. And of course, as most people just expect, they're gonna be mostly blockbusters. It's gonna be mostly those really high budget Hollywood films. They're just so incredibly mediocre and disappointing, and it feels like we've seen them over and over again and we don't understand why they keep throwing so much money at this stuff.
Why?
And there are some independent films as well, but those are completely different criteria, of course, because for me, when an independent film is being boring, it's a crime. Because indie films literally can completely destroy all the different rules that are set up by Hollywood and do something weird. So for me, an indie film that doesn't do something weird with its concept, it just doesn't deserve to exist. So I'm gonna be giving you a lot of different reviews, and I have spiced things up a little bit, and I've actually made some weird, kind of like Razzie nominations for like the worst performances of the year and things like that. I'm not gonna give you spoilers. You'll see, it's gonna be quite fun. I started my list with 2.5 over 5, so my very first pick is gonna be that particular score, and it ends at 0.5 over 5 when it comes to the Letterboxd rating. Just because I don't think you can give a 0 rating to movies. I mean, it's hard making movies, and at the end of the day, just the idea that they managed to push it out the window into a theater, it deserves half a star at some point. Even though with some of these movies, I would have preferred to give it a 0, because why do they even exist? The first one, and you probably see it coming, one of the worst films of the year, Jurassic World Dominion. Honestly, I can't believe that they did it again. They promised us a chaotic movie where finally we get dinosaurs in cities and interacting with humans, but no, they built yet another fucking Jurassic Park, but in Italy. Honestly, I didn't have any high expectations when it comes to this film here, but I had no idea that they would do something so incredibly fucking stupid. The villain of this film, it's not the humans, it's not the dinosaurs, it's fucking locusts. How incredibly underwhelming. And it's really funny because like the very first few minutes of Jurassic World Dominion, that's exactly the kind of movie I wanted to see. Dinosaurs getting injected into the real world and seeing how it's just complete chaos and how we need to learn to live with them. That's it. That's all you had to do. So why did you make such a weird movie? And of course there is no reason for the original cast to come back, and they're actually the only good thing about this film at the end of the day. Everyone else just really sucks, and it just made me really sad, especially because I went to see it at the cinema. The next one is gonna be Studio 666, which is not a big movie, it's a horror movie. I think it's produced by the Foo Fighters and it's starring the Foo Fighters, which is incredibly weird. So just because of that concept, I gave it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. But this movie is so fucking weird and honestly, I really don't recommend it. And it mostly has to do with the acting and the line delivery, which kind of remind me of the movie The Room, and not necessarily in a way that it's so bad that it's good. It's just really bad. And it's annoying because it really feels like this movie wanted to inspire itself from the Sam Raimi Evil Dead trilogy, so being horrific, being comedic, but mostly being campy. But it just didn't land a lot of things, mostly because, well, they used the Foo Fighters as the main actors of this film, and most of the times they just don't know how to act, and it's incredibly cringy.
Do you guys get this overwhelming sense of death? Whoa. Doesn't really seem like the right fit. Whoa, it's rad. That was weird.
Now we're gonna get into 2 out of 5 stars, and the first one is gonna be Uncharted. I fucking love the Uncharted video games. Like, don't get me wrong, like I absolutely love them, and Nathan Drake is one of my favorite characters probably in history. Nathan Drake is my Indiana Jones. I feel like Nathan Drake is way more interesting than Indiana Jones, and is way less misogynistic than him as well. So I was really excited when they announced I was making this movie here. I was really pissed off they didn't pick Nathan Fillion because he's the perfect man for this job. And just it doesn't work. It just really doesn't work. Tom Holland is not Nathan Drake. I'm sorry. And Mark Wahlberg as Sully is the most disgusting kind of casting I've ever seen. The only good thing about this film, to be honest, is the action sequences, which are literally sometimes taken apart from the video game itself and reproduced in live action mode. I don't care about anything, and Tom Holland is just not believable as the main character. And of course, it doesn't sell you on the whole film itself. And of course, of these 2 stars, one of them is dedicated to Tati Gabrielle because I really love her. And if you're seeing this video, I'm giving 1 star just to you. I love you, Tati Gabrielle. So this movie gets an official 1 star at the end of the day. And now we do what I was teasing before. We're gonna be doing some weird Razzie nominations. And we start with the worst male performance of the year with Jared Leto as Morbius, of course. Tom Hanks in Elvis, so incredibly cringy and such a weird accent. Ben Affleck in the very not sexy Deepwater. MGK in Good Morning, so Machine Gun Kelly in Good Morning. Mark Wahlberg as Sully in Uncharted, of course. And I will add an extra point for his fucking ridiculous mustache. And Pinocchio from the movie Pinocchio, A True Story, which is probably one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Pinocchio! Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
And also, why is everyone so fucking horny for Pinocchio this year? We're gonna have 3 movies about Pinocchio in just one here. The Disney one, which we don't talk about, the Guillermo del Toro one, which is probably gonna be quite interesting, and this one here, which is just traumatizing. But anyways, I decided to give the prize of this year to Mark Wahlberg because he's such a shitty actor.
My name is Elliot Moore. I'm just going to talk in a very positive manner, giving off good vibes. We're just here to use the bathroom, and then we're just gonna leave. I hope that's okay.
Nope.
And I feel like you can really reduce his shittiness if you put him in Michael Bay movies like No Pain, No Gain. That one works really well.
I'm hot! I'm big! Fuck!
But when it comes to Uncharted, I just don't take him seriously. I feel like the Uncharted movie had the most potential to be good, and it didn't work specifically because of the casting, and mostly because of Mark Wahlberg. I'm really sorry. But you're the worst actor of this year. Next, we're gonna be heading to a 2 star out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is Vengeance. And this is an indie movie. It's the directorial debut of BJ Novak, who you might know from The Office, of course.
You will now wrestle my cousin Mo!
No, okay, all right. It's
Wrestle him
over.
to the
This
ground.
is over, okay?
No, just
you're a
this is the final-
freak. I'm not doing this anymore, and this is over. Goodbye.
Ryan, you don't have to wrestle him. Ryan, just get in the car.
This is exactly what I was talking about before. This is the kind of indie films which they have an interesting concept, but they don't just exploit it to the optimal potential, and they end up just making something incredibly boring. I wanted to stop this at so many different times, and actually to call Vengeance disappointing, it would be a compliment. And I think that it's just badly written, terribly paced, charming yet so utterly forgettable at the same time. I mean, there are so many pseudo-intellectual conversations that had me eye-rolling in this movie here. I've also seen my fair share of movies making fun of Texas just in general. I feel like it's gotten a bit old and stale. And also someone said something quite funny when it comes to the reviews, and the fact that there are not many actual Texan actors in this movie here, and it's really insulting. So yeah, I will end on that.
Hey Patrick, what am I now?
Stupid?
No, I'm Texas!
What's the difference?
The next 2-star review is gonna be Michael Bay's Ambulance, which interesting concept, but damn, really fast execution. It felt like this movie could have lasted 30 minutes and it would have been maybe way more effective. It lasted way too long. I mean, thank God that Jake Gyllenhaal is in this movie, because he can make anything interesting just because his performances tend to be so incredibly intense. Most people said that this was one of the most exciting Michael Bay films that he's directed in years, but to be honest, I'd rather be playing GTA 5 because this is like the stupidest heist I've ever seen. And also just thinking about the fact that this whole movie is based on the idea of creating millions of dollars of destruction and chaos just because they want to save one cop, it kind of makes me sad. I literally have zero sympathy for the cops in this film, just saying. And another thing we might think about when it comes to performances and the worst things about this year, of course we cannot do male performances without doing the female performances. So for the worst female performance of the years, we're gonna have Rebel Wilson in Senior here, which it was just so painful to sit through. So fucking painful. Sandra Bullock in The Lost City, which was yet another painful movie to sit through because it was so incredibly not funny. Unfortunately for her, Megan Fox in Good Morning, but just because Good Morning is incredibly bad and she did a favor to her boyfriend Machine Gun Kelly to be in the movie, it's just really sad, just incredibly sad. And of course, all the women in the 355, mostly because of Simon Kinberg and the idea that he made such an incredible mediocre film that he just wasted so many incredibly talented actresses. And of course you can tell who is gonna be the winner. It's the actresses in the 355 movie. How can you make such an incredibly forgettable and boring movie with so many incredibly talented people? Ew, you make me sick, Simon Kinberg.
Do you think your parents are disappointed in you?
Sometimes.
So what do? You try to make yourself special. You become they.
Now we're really getting into that pure raw energy when it comes to how shitty these next few movies are. When I was watching them, it really made me mad just because I was wasting my time. I could really feel it. We start with 1.5 over 5 stars for the movie The Gray Man, which was so insultingly mediocre. And I'm so sorry for Ryan Gosling because he usually gives so many incredible performances, but here it was so boring. It just felt like they asked him to do what he did in Drive all over again. The action sequences, I mean, some of them are cool, but at the end of the day, this is just so incredibly forgettable. And very often I tend to destroy movies when they have way too many narrative inconsistencies, and this movie here is like the god of narrative inconsistencies. Of course, there is actually worse, we'll see it later, but this movie here, honestly, who wrote this? They don't deserve to be alive. I mean, are you telling me that a hired killer that has been working for 80 years for a company immediately doubts his company as soon as a random target tells him not to trust him? I mean, even if he used to be one of the Gray Men as well, who cares? I mean, what if a Gray Man turned bad? Of course you'd send another Gray Man to kill the before mentioned Gray Man. Fuck, I'm putting way too much thought into this movie, plus it would have been so easy to just delay the manhunt and have another scene with something shady happening, only for Ryan Gosling to be like, maybe I should check out those warnings. God, why am I still typing? I mean, why am I still reviewing this movie? Oh my god. And the next one is yet another incredibly forgettable action movie. It makes me really sad for the main actor who is actually behind this because I really like him. It's Samaritan, who gets a 1.5 over 5 stars on Letterboxd. Wow, this movie was incredibly stupid. It had potential, but it was incredibly stupid. It was kind of like if you took like a superhero TV show made from the CW and if you turned it into a movie, you would get something like Samaritan. And honestly, this movie is like the king of cringy B movies. I mean, with the amount of superhero movies out there, you couldn't come up with a better premise than hero strong throws people around. Also, this film has to do only one thing that can actually work: be R-rated and violent as fuck. Especially as soon as the plot twist happens, they just need to have good fight choreography. That's just it, and then it would be fun. I just want to see another movie that feels like watching Punisher Warzone. Can I have that? Couldn't Samaritan be that? Please? Please? I don't want to watch this anymore. Stop making the same movies over and over again and pretending that they're not the same movie just because maybe you changed the main actor.
A little 5-hour energy, I hear you. Powdered form.
And now, this is gonna be maybe controversial, maybe not. The next two ones technically are gonna be quite controversial. I called this category the most wasted potential of the year, and I gave it to the movie 3000 Years of Longing. The trailer was incredible for this movie, and I arrived at the cinema and I was like, what is going on? Why isn't this movie way better than it should be? And why is this movie focusing on a weird love story between two people who have no romantic chemistry at all between them, instead of focusing on the actual really cool things that a genie could have lived through in the Middle East? What is going on? This movie deserved to be like 3 or 4 hours at the end of the day. It didn't deserve to be this short. It didn't deserve to have such a lousy ending as well. I just wanted more. I wanted like a weird epic movie of the scope of Gladiator. I feel like it could have been that. I feel like George Miller makes those kind of films as well.
Make a wish! Save yourself!
I wish I had hot dogs for fingers.
And the next category is going to be the most disappointing film of the year, which is not the same as most wasted potential, of course. I'm going to give that award to Thor: Love and Thunder.
Ominous portal hath appeared behind us. We'll never join you, witch. Well done.
It was so painful to sit through. Honestly, the comedy is getting so incredibly cringy when it comes to the MCU, and that's probably why I didn't enjoy other things like She-Hulk, because I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of this sense of humor. I'm just tired of movies that keep shooting themselves in the foot and kind of like completely disrupting all the emotional stakes that have been set up across all the different films. It just really sucks. And also, the worst thing about this movie is that it feels like it's perfectly stuck in between being two completely different movies. I mean, I have a complete review / rant for this movie here. I'm gonna put it up here. But yeah, this movie, it just really sucks because I love Taika Waititi. I love everything that he's made, and I really love Chris Hemsworth and the new interpretation of Thor. But everything about this movie is just wrong and pathetic, and it just made me really sad.
Go to Daddy.
Oh, no, man.
Just calling you.
Now we're gonna get into 1 star over 5, and we're starting with The Lost City. Boring, disappointing, and it made me so sad once again. I mean, this is like so expensive, so mediocre, so incredibly unfunny, and just so incredibly forgettable. I mean, there wasn't a single cell in my body that wanted to know what happened to any of these people. I don't care about Sandra Bullock, and I kind of wish they put someone who's actually funny like Kate McKinnon, or even Kristen Wiig, or even Jonah Hill. I feel like a movie like this with like a very sensitive writer played by Jonah Hill and playing on the kind of homoeroticism would have been way more funny than what Sandra Bullock is doing. Maybe not a fault, it's the script's fault, which is just so incredibly stupid. I enjoyed Brad Pitt in it. That's the only thing that I will say about it. He had the same energy that he was giving in Bullet Train, and that's the only reason why I would give 1 star to this movie at the end of the day.
Why are you so handsome?
My dad was a weatherman.
Alan? Yeah. What are you doing here?
Irregardless, I'm here to save you.
Oh god, the next one. The next one is, I think it's a French movie. I think it was at the Cannes Festival as well. It's called Brother and Sister. Marion Cotillard is in it. You know, like when you have the worst dramas ever? Yeah, this is one of the worst dramas I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, the script is clearly pseudo-intellectual bullshit. The classic of spitting a lot of big words to convey absolutely nothing at all. I despise every single one of these characters, and I wish they would just not exist. I mean, French people would probably call this film like un film pour petits bobos parisiens, because it's so incredibly pretentious. It stars people who are just so incredibly awful, and I'm pretty sure it's not done on purpose. It's just that it's written that way. The next category is quite fun because I called it the worst human beings of the year, and these categories are gonna be quite interesting and they're gonna be feeling fresh, especially if you compare it to the stuff that we usually get in Razzie nominations. For the worst human beings of the year, the candidates are the execs at Warner Brothers for cancelling Batgirl and the new Scooby-Doo movie even though they were ready, the execs at Sony who re-released Morbius because it became a meme, Andrew Dominic for forcing Ana de Armas to be in blonde and shitting on Marilyn Monroe's memory, and the fandom of Lord of the Rings for hating on Rings of Power because of racism and sexism. And the winner is the last one. Of course, it's the Lord of the Rings fandom.
No. Wait.
Honestly, this was the worst month of my life as a Lord of the Rings fan, because it was just so incredibly painful to be online and see all of these different reviews and people hating on it for such stupid reasons just because they were comparing it to House of the Dragon, which is a fucking medieval fantasy, while Lord of the Rings, it's a high fantasy. So they cannot talk to you in the same way. Like, the dialogues cannot be written in the same way, the characters cannot be written in the same way, the pacing of the show cannot be the same, the stakes are not the same at all, because very often in high fantasy you've got forces of evil who are trying to destroy everything, while in medieval fantasy you've got really low stakes and more like political machinations and that kind of stuff. Of course, it's not a perfect show, but damn, you're so fucking toxic and you just ruin the experience for everyone, and it just makes me mad. Because just go watch any Netflix show, go watch a CW show, go watch any of like the spin-off Walking Dead shows, go watch the new Pretty Little Liars, go watch Emily in Paris. There are so many incredibly mediocre and shitty shows, and Rings of Power has so many good things about it, and it just pissed me off so much. Fuck you.
It's been 20 years since Peter Jackson took us to Middle-earth, and 10 years since we all asked to leave.
The next shitty movie I want to talk about, and definitely not recommend for this year, it's one of those really cute teen comedies that Netflix likes to release at least like 15 times per month, not even per year. I was about to say per year, but no, it's literally every single month, and it's called Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between. I can't even remember the title just because of how shitty this movie is. Once again, 1 star. I don't even remember why I gave it 1 star, because I don't see anything redeeming about this film here. It has all the possible cliches ever, and it's kind of like just a couple of cute sentences followed by like loud teen happy or sad music, followed by even more cute sentences, rinse and repeat for an entire film, and it's starring really attractive people. Fuck movies like this. There is nothing original about it. I'd rather watch Do Revenge, even though I didn't like it, instead of this movie here, because this is always the same stuff being eaten and thrown out and being eaten again and thrown out and re-released by Netflix. It just really sucks. I don't want to see films like this anymore, and you can't even argue that I'm not like the target audience for these kind of films. I love almost every kind of genre, maybe besides Western movies and war movies, just because they don't tend to have the most original structures or like plots. So no, even though I'm not the target audience, you can recognize when a movie fucking sucks, and it's not for anyone.
If Sophie becomes evil, none of us will survive.
I'm your best friend. Evil is controlling you.
No! What the hell are you doing out here, Fred?
The next movie, 1 star, The Invitation. Fuck this movie, because I've heard actually a couple of good things, especially because it was like very queer and very campy and very fun. None of those things are true. It's actually not that queer at the end of the day. The main character, she's the most straight person I've ever seen. This movie is like one of those movies that is literally like an insult to vampires, and it's just a lot of wasted potential as well. I mean, Esther did it, for example, a couple of months ago when it comes to basing the whole final act on a fucking weird fire. The Invitation does it again, and they don't have the budget for it. So if you don't have the budget to make it look good, why do you even do it? Why do you even try? Stop. Just do something easy. Just use a shit ton of blood. It's a vampire movie. We don't want to see fire. Ah, fuck, I fucking hate wasting my time. I hate wasting my time on bad movies. And lately I've actually been watching a lot of, for the video that you saw like a couple of weeks ago. So like, I'm even more mad. There are so many incredibly bad movies coming out every single year. And I just really hope that this video kind of like warns you about some of them.
I am the man from Toronto.
Objection. No, I'm the man from Toronto. Oh, smoke! Ah!
Some guys get scared because they think I'm pranking them or something. And I'm like, no, I just want to suck your dick.
This is mainly why I made this video. The video is not over. I don't know why I started getting into the conclusion. It's not over. But the next one is yet another funny nomination thing for the worst Netflix sequels that never deserve to exist. And the nominees are Tall Girl 2, of which I have a review as well if you want to watch it. I think it's one of my funniest videos, to be honest. 365 Days This Day. The Next 365 Days, which is the sequel to the movie I just nominated. And Fate the Winx Saga Season 2. All of them, they don't deserve to exist. I haven't even watched most of them. I know they're bad. We all know they're bad, but Netflix keeps making them. And I had to make this nomination here, just so we can recognize that Netflix makes some interesting things, so much garbage. So much garbage. And if Emily in Paris Season 3 came out this year, I will put it in there as well. Just saying.
Des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose.
Arrête, ça fait beaucoup trop d'images à cauchemar dans ma tête.
The next movie here, maybe it's gonna be controversial because it has received quite a lot of positive reviews, but for me I put 1 star on The Bad Guys. So incredibly cliche, to the point that the main characters don't even have names. Their names are their species, which is so fucking stupid. This movie is clearly for toddlers. I mean, this is like Minions level of stupidity when it comes to how it's written. I really didn't like the animation style as well. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't even show this to toddlers. I would show them anything. I would show them the Land Before Time movies. I would show them the animals from Shrek. I would show them even the Minions. Anything but this movie here, just because it's so incredibly unfunny, so incredibly unoriginal, and it's kind of like The Secret Life of Pets meets Zootopia, and it has no more original ideas. It's just trying to ride those very popular waves to make something that sounds like it's a good movie, but it's really not a good movie. No. Animation has been really disappointing this year. I'm so disappointed. Turning Red was good, but not to the same standard as most Pixar movies.
But I want it now!
My next award is worst... Wait, haven't we already seen this? Haven't we already done it? And it's for the movie Watcher. I don't know if you remember, but last year we had a movie called The Voyeurs, which is literally the same movie as Watcher, which is yet another Rear Window wannabe weird psychological erotic thriller, and it's so incredibly bad. It's just so bad. Why? Why? Why do you keep making these? Can anyone answer? Why? Why?
Took it too far this time! Fuck on!
And now we're getting to the absolute worst movie of the year. I don't think that anything is gonna top it, mostly because this represents everything that I hate about the Hollywood industry. This represents the movies like Fast and Furious making a shit ton of money, Transformers making a shit ton of money, the Venom movies making a shit ton of money for no reason. I'm talking about Moonfall, which got a 0.5 out of 5 stars on my Letterboxd review. Fuck this movie. This movie is so bad on so many different levels, and it's not even good in like a guilty pleasure kind of way. The performances even are so bad. It feels like even the actors themselves, they don't understand what they're talking about at the end of the day. There is literally nothing about this film that I like. I don't like the premise, which is based on not conspiracy theories. I don't like the characters. I don't like the fact that the effects look worse than in most 90s disaster movies. Also, I really don't understand understand why they keep making realistic sci-fi choices with stupid disaster movies. I mean, space shuttles fucking suck. Can we not just pretend they don't exist at least in movies? Can we not replace them with something cool? Huh? Replace them with the weird alien from Nope. Ride that and destroy the moon. That would be way more interesting to watch.
I'm Orgalorg. Destroy worlds, crush anyone blocking the door, feel their bones crumple and their goo spill out.
I finished this video. There is another category, right? Fuck, there is another category. Okay. The next category is not a movie. It's the worst shows of the entire year. There's been a lot. And the nominees are Netflix Resident Evil, How I Met Your Father, once again Netflix God's Favorite Idiot, and Disney Plus She-Hulk. And the winner is She-Hulk. Of course it's She-Hulk. I don't even know if I want to get into this because honestly, once again, a really toxic fandom when it comes to this show here. But we have to admit that I was really disappointed by She-Hulk because it had a lot of potential. It had the potential to be like a weird lawyer show a la Deadpool, but it wasn't really that. Relied on so many different cliches about femininity and like contemporary womanhood. They literally made an episode about a wedding, an episode about like Tinder dating, and an episode about finding a good dress. I mean, are those the most important things in a woman's life in 2022? I don't think so. But anyways, then we had a really awkward final episode where they literally shot themselves in the foot being like, oh, you thought that She-Hulk was bad? It was bad on purpose because this is like a postmodern capitalist thing, you know? So it's funny, it's meta, right? It's funny. It's funny.
What kind of stupid finale is this?
We thought it'd be really cool.
You know, like fun, kind of a twist.
A twist? Yeah, this is the story that Kevin wants.
It definitely pays off if you rewatch it over and over again. No, it probably didn't. And it ended up destroying completely Jennifer Walters' story. At the end of the day, we don't even get to see her be a lawyer, for example, and to fight intelligentsia in court. We just cut away to focus on the fact that now she has a boyfriend and she's happy with her family. Let's not even talk about the fact that they literally shoot at their own special effects artists by saying that the special effects are cheap and they look like shit, which is so insulting to all the people who are overworked by Disney and underpaid, of course. I don't know, just the whole kind of fandom around it, the different discourse, everything about this show was so incredibly bad. And it's probably because we have high expectations. And I don't think it's bad to have high expectations. There are so many shows being made every single day, almost. So many different shows coming out on so many different streaming platforms. And I hate wasting my time on bad ones because if you waste the time on a bad TV show, it means you literally avoided watching something that could have been really good, made by some indie people who don't have the power and recognition of Disney and the platform, of course, to showcase that kind of stuff and the marketing budget to make sure that everyone is talking about it. So this is why I called it like the worst show of the year, because it represents everything that I hate about like the business, the filmmaking industry itself. Even bad shows, even mediocre shows can still attract attention and an audience, and it really doesn't motivate them to make them better because everyone is gonna keep watching, everyone is gonna keep tuning in, and that's what really pisses me off. If we were all together behind the mediocrity and criticized it, then they probably try to improve. But at this point, they know that they don't give a shit. They know that as long as they give us these weird cameos, we're gonna be satisfied even if the movie is shit, even if the show is shit. And it really sucks. So much incredible wasted potential for this year. And then they make a movie like Werewolves by Night? How is it even possible? I don't know. And I'm just really disappointed. So this is what this video was about. Disappointment, sadness, and maybe a bit of ranting because I do enjoy ranting. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what are the worst movies or series that you watched and that you had to suffer through this year. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Every single like that you drop will go to the people in the industry who are actually trying and making original movies. For example, I can't think of a single one right now. Any original movies? A couple of weeks ago I watched a movie called Io, which is a weird indie experimental movie from the perspective of a donkey. Of course, it premiered at the Cannes Festival. Support movies like that. Don't support mediocre writing. Don't support bad movies that look like so many other movies that have come out before. Just don't watch them. Just avoid them and move on. Maybe just watch the TV. I know it's weird. Yeah, go watch a reality TV. It's probably more original than all of the movies that I talked about in this video here. I'm Patrick, and this is Torn Apart.
You can come visit me in the swamp sometime.
Yes.
I'll cook all kinds of stuff for you. Swamp toad soup, fisheye tartar, you name it.
Very nice, Shrek.
Oh! What do I have to do to get a little famous in?
Da 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 da.